Want to know the numbers behind one of the biggest marketing opportunities out there right now? Keep listening.
It's the e-commerce master plan podcast, here to help you solve your marketing problems and grow your e-commerce business. Cutting through the hype to bring you inspiration and advice from the e-commerce sector and beyond. Here's your host, Chloe Thomas.
Hello and welcome. It's great to have you tuning in. Now, back in December, you may remember, it's all right, there's no points, it's okay if you don't, but we announced that we are now kind of jointly focused still on e-commerce growth and helping you build a better, more successful business. But we're also interested in helping you embrace the opportunities and the path to making your business carbon neutral, net zero, becoming more sustainable, all those kind of awesome things for the planet and humanity. So I got very excited when I saw some consumer research by Klaviyo earlier this year that totally backs up my thinking. That there's a huge marketing opportunity in sustainability. The customers want it, but they're finding it hard to buy it. So it's our job to help them work out how to be more sustainable. In today's episode, I'm discussing that research and what it means for your business with the author of the research. Yes, we are getting into some stats, we are getting into some case studies, some examples, and we are mainly focusing on how you can take advantage of this huge opportunity. There is things coming up about, unsurprisingly, as it's a Klaviyo report, we will be talking a little bit about customer first data, which is where your zero party and first party combined. We'll also be talking a lot about messaging and about how you get those key messages over to consumers and what they might be. And there's some awesome case study stuff too. Oh, it's been brilliant chatting with our guests, so I hope you really enjoyed this episode, and it's coming up straight after the sponsors. Getting an online business off the ground is not easy. So if you find yourself working late, tackling a to-do list that's a mile long with your fifth cup of coffee by your side, remember, great email doesn't have to be complicated. That's what Klaviyo is for. It's the email and SMS platform built to help e-commerce brands earn more money by creating genuine customer relationships. Once you set up a free Klaviyo account, you can start sending beautiful branded messages in minutes, thanks to drag and drop design templates and built-in guidance. And with e-commerce specific recommendations and insights, you can keep growing your business as you go. Get started with a free account at klaviyo.com/masterplan. That's KLAVIYO.com/masterplan. And now to introduce today's guest expert. Aubrey Harper is a content strategist at Klaviyo. Earlier this year, she produced some remarkable customer research that you all need to know about. Hello, Aubrey.
Hi, Chloe. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you here. I have been raving about this research whenever anyone will let me on another podcast, on a presentation. You would be amazed the number of presentations I've managed to wangle some of your stats into. So it's great to have you here to tell everyone about it in full. So we'll get into that in a moment. But first off, how did you end up in this crazy world of e-commerce?
Yes, great question. I, perhaps unsurprisingly, came from the world of being a e-commerce marketer at a company that sold sustainable products. Yes, yeah. So I tragically was not using Klaviyo. I was using a not to be mentioned email provider, but I was working with utilities to sell their customers discounted smart thermostats, lighting, very exciting products, but obviously had the pleasure of thinking about how all of the products I was selling actually impacted the world. And the company I worked for, which is called Uplight, it's based in the US, they actually measured all of their company goals based on how many carbon emissions we reduced that year. So we talked about that every year. It was really exciting. And now I am at Klaviyo, where I am talking to people like me about how to do e-commerce marketing.
Very cool. So you're kind of poacher turned gamekeeper in some ways, but still continuing that sustainability angle through.
I have pulled it with me, definitely. Yes, it's very fun to talk to all of our customers because I get to learn how they're doing everything so much better than I did when I was an e-commerce marketer.
It's kind of annoying, but also reassuring that you made the right call.
It very much is, yes.
Excellent. Well, look, let's talk about this report, because I mean, the numbers and the data and the interpretations from it are so unbelievably clear and useful for everyone listening. That's why I wanted to get you on here. So tell us a little bit about this project, why you've done it, who you focused on, and the key results, I suppose. Go.
Yes. Okay. So just to set some color, I think one thing that I really wanted this data to do was not just show the feel-good part about sustainability. Obviously, people who want the world to be more sustainable, like us, like probably a lot of people listening, we want to know how we can help that. And it is easy to try to seek out the numbers that consumers want to be more sustainable. 97% of consumers say they will make more sustainable choices next year. I very specifically did not ask questions like that. I asked questions like, how sustainable were you in the last 6 months? I think that is the data that businesses need to actually build a strategy that will help them grow a sustainable business. So that was one thing that was really important for me in setting up the survey as a whole. We specifically targeted UK consumers, mostly because those are the brands that I'm working with. We have not replicated it across other regions, but we, of course, hit that statistically significant threshold, so that I think this is pretty relevant to all people selling in the UK. And hopefully we at some point will be able to share for outside the UK, maybe the US and other regions.
I have to say, from conversations I've had with retailers and industry people across the globe, I'd be very surprised if the numbers differ greatly from region to region. Certainly in the Western world, this seems pretty normal.
Very much. It's funny. I was talking to I'm obviously an American living in the UK though, and I was speaking to other Brits, and they were like, "Oh, surely we are more sustainable than the US," and spoiler, probably not.
I think we talk a better game. I think that's the only thing it is. I think we talk more about it than the US, but I doubt
the first step, I'd say. That's good.
Maybe. So, and I think the other key thing, which you kind of flagged up a bit there with how you looked at what they've done as well as what they want to do, is there is that big mismatch in which we all know in marketing happens all the time. You do some research, someone says they're going to do something, or you do some marketing and they say they're going to do something, and then actually a considerably fewer number of people actually do it, because there's some kind of neuromarketing element that we like to be seen to be doing better than we actually are. And it's a lot easier to say I'm going to walk 3 times a week than it is to actually walk 3 times a week. So you see, guys, how low I set the bar there. Not go to the gym 3 times, just walk anywhere.
I was very comfortable with that. I liked that.
Yeah, I'd probably still fail. But that's something you've really seen here, is that there is that difference, but it's a bit more than that.
Yeah, definitely. I think there is a reasonable difference in what people say they're going to do and what they do. The specific numbers, I guess we can get into the actual data versus talking about the data.
Let's talk numbers.
One of the key takeaways, which is really what we led all social media efforts with and what got a ton of attention, and I'd love to hear that you're using it in other presentations, is that consumers say they want sustainable goods, but they don't actually buy them. The numbers behind that, 89% say that sustainability is at least somewhat important to them, with 50% of those people actually saying it's very or extremely important. But when it comes to opting for a sustainable product, only 27% in the last 6 months actually went sustainable. So yeah, just what you're saying, there's a much bigger gap than just I had a good intention to go sustainable. People think it's important by and large, but there's so much gap. And I think for businesses, actually, that sounds sad, obviously. a third of the number of people who think it's important are actually living by those values. But I think it's actually kind of inspirational for brands, because that means there's a really big opportunity to help your customers actually shop by their values and feel more fulfilled in their purchase decisions. So there's something that's really exciting in that.
I agree. I think it's a huge opportunity for marketers. And I love that the fact that you didn't stop there with your research. You then went to the next level of, well, why aren't you buying more sustainably? And the detail on that is basically our to-do list, isn't it?
It sure is. Yes. We dug into a lot about what people care about in making a purchase. We actually made there were 8 potential factors that people could rank when they make a purchase, what's most important to them. And sustainability came in second to last. The top 3, probably no surprise to anyone. Number 1 was quality. Number 2, price. Number 3, free shipping.
Free shipping. Been in the top 3 for the whole time I've been in this industry.
Do not
What's
touch.
your top barrier?
Yeah, do not touch anyone's free shipping.
But make sure you factored the cost of the shipping into your profit margins.
Sneaky.
Public health warning, done. So product sustainability is low on the current importance level for making an online purchase. And then you also got into, well, okay, it's low, but why are you not buying a sustainable product? And got into that as well, didn't you?
Yep. Yes, it's low. And why? The top 3 reasons that came out from there were so interesting. Number 1 was that sustainable products are more expensive. Sure. Yes. I think everyone probably has that barrier to entry. But the next 2, which were actually tied for number 2, and they weren't that far below price actually, were that it requires more time or effort to shop sustainably, and tied equally with, I'm not sure if the product is truly sustainable, which womp womp, that's on us.
Yeah, it's so telling, isn't it? Just for anyone who wants the numbers there. So 53% of respondents said, the reason I don't buy sustainably is because it's more expensive. And then the other 2, that it takes more time and effort, and I don't understand if it really is sustainable or trust that it's really sustainable. They were both at 42%. So that's 53% and 42%. Like Aubrey said, there is very little difference between those. Just reducing the price of your products to make them buy sustainable is not going to be enough. So Aubrey, what can we take from these to get practical about using it in our e-commerce businesses? What have you found is the best steps forward to get consumers buying more sustainably? So
in line with that data that we were just talking about, we asked people what would make them opt for a sustainable product. And I mean, it's very clear that people are telling us something. 49%, so almost 50, said no extra cost. Don't make me pay more for a sustainable good. But 47%, so again, almost the same number, they're saying we just want believable proof that this product is making a difference, which, okay, we can give you that.
That's like 50-50. So
yes.
Guys, listening, only 50% of this is price. The consumers are telling you, we want you to educate us. We want you to make it clearer. So there's which, we're all marketers. We should be quite good at educating customers. So this is a huge opportunity.
It absolutely is a huge opportunity. I think it's also an opportunity as brands decide how to go to market. We know that if sustainability isn't someone's number 1 priority, that's probably not the message you should lead with. I think a really good example of this is a brand called Cheeky Wipes. I was speaking to Helen Rankin, the founder. It's a UK-based company. They're a super interesting brand because their product variety is very wide. They sell both reusable period care, so period pants, and baby care products, so like baby wipes. And Helen actually started this brand because she had eczema, and baby wipes were irritating her hands. So the brand was started as a alternative to traditional baby wipes. And while she was making the product, she was like, well, it should also be sustainable. Let's make these reusable. It'll make it cheaper. And when I was talking to her about this data specifically, she said a light bulb went off and she said, this is exactly what I've been saying. Sustainability is, of course, part of our brand, but actually the leading part of our brand is that we're an alternative. So I think there's a great opportunity. You want to educate customers about the sustainability, but in such a way that you go to them with the messages that matter to them most. That, for example, for Cheeky Wipes, your product is cheaper, it's a better alternative, it's healthier for you and your baby. And oh, by the way, it's sustainable. And then the customer has that kind of lasting feeling good about buying this product that really makes them a more loyal customer.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned Cheeky Wipes because Helen and I had a conversation not very long ago that all of you will be able to hear in the very near future because it's in an upcoming episode. And she's talking about exactly what Aubrey was just mentioning and about how she's going to be potentially pivoting their messaging again based on the huge rates of inflation and no one having any money anymore and all those lovely things that we're all dealing with. That one there. But so that episode's coming up soon. But Aubrey, it's not about shoving sustainability down people's throats and putting it necessarily front and center in our marketing. It's more about, because we're still at the early days of this, consumers are still learning how to do it. It's more about going, here's a brilliant product. Oh, and by the way, this is good for the planet. We're giving money to charity, whatever that sustainability angle is. So it's just making sure we've got the right About Us page up, the right information on the product pages. We're including it in our marketing. It's kind of being more reassuring and educational than heavy selling, I suppose.
Absolutely. And I think relying on your current customer base, relying on third parties to make sure all of your reviews really reflect your brand. So just continuing to nurture those relationships after someone makes a purchase, asking them to review your brand, and also don't tell them to mention the sustainability, but you can just sprinkle in how you are sustainable right before they go to make a review. And guess what? Probably the sustainability element will make it into their review because it's top of mind.
Simple things. There's another really simple way of doing it, which comes from, there's a big industry analysis company, they probably don't describe themselves as that, but anyway, called Mintel, who have put their consumer trend predictions for 2022 out. They put those out at the end of 2021. And one of them was one of the three, so this is the top three, was the ethics check, which is literally basically it means somewhere on your website, you've got a lovely little bullet point list of all the different things your company is. So it might be vegan, I was going to say vegan friendly. I suppose vegan friendly does count, doesn't it? It might be no plastic. It might be that your sustainability score is X, that you're carbon neutral, that you're woman owned or black owned or whatever it is. Just put that on the bottom of the homepage, on the About Us page, in your footer. So when someone just wants to do their little ethics check, they can go and see which bits do you actually comply with. And it's such we're talking about simple stuff here, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Simple stuff that I think just really matters, especially for the long-term relationships with customers today. If people are shopping, if they're choosing to go away from the behemoths of Amazon, they want that personal connection, right? They want to see the nature behind the brand. So I think that it will be more important than ever. We're all starved from connection in the pandemic. Give us it somewhere.
Well, completely. That's one of the other big opportunities at the moment, isn't it? Is to build this connection, is to be talking about sustainability and how your business is adopting more sustainable practices. It just fills that content gap so nicely. Plus, you mentioned there about long-term customer relationships. Obviously, with competitor levels going up and all of the stuff that's going on at the moment, we want to hold on to those customers. And being uncertain, struggling to make decisions, it is mentally, physically tiring. So if you can be the company that made it easier for the customer, if you're the one who made it easy for them to pick the right toilet roll, kitchen paper, clothing, gadgets, whatever it might be, because they know that they're making a good choice on whatever their ethics mix and sustainability mix is, then you are building a level of trust over and above some great reviews with that customer, because they will be like, oh, this is the easiest place to buy from because I'm not having to do too much thinking, which is subtle, but really powerful.
Yes, anything that lets me think less, please.
Please, everybody, help us think less.
Did you hear the desperation in my voice? Truly, please.
Please. Few thoughts, because there is something called decision-making fatigue. It's the real scientists, not just us marketers, the real scientists.
We're not just whiny. It's a real thing.
It's a real thing, which is why, anyone who, you feel a bit hungry at 8:00 at night and you make a bad in inverted commas decision about what you're going to eat, that's because you made too many decisions during the day.
That's the reason, for sure.
Definitely. It's not just that the ice cream looked good, but
no.
If you can help consumers make their decision making easier, we all know this. It's what we do in conversion rate optimization, but it's also something we can now do with sustainability. Aubrey, from all that you've learned doing this huge amount of research and pulling it all together into this report, what would be the and we will let all of you know how to get hold of it later, promise. For those reading going, but how do I get all this? Or listening even. You don't read the podcast, you listen to the podcast. For those who want to read the research, we will be letting you know how to do that shortly. But Aubrey, from all that you've done, putting this together, learning about it and so forth, what's the key thing anyone listening should be doing right now to take advantage of this opportunity?
Well, I think the key thing that all brands can take away from this is actually something that Cheeky Wipes do. When you go to the Cheeky Wipes website, when you first see their brand, you'll see a welcome pop-up. And they ask, when someone signs up to their marketing list, what people care about most. It's especially important for them as a brand because they have period care and baby care, and people that have periods don't always have babies, so definitely important for them. But they, in addition to asking what products are most important, they ask whether reusable products are something that is really important. And so they're getting information from their customers firsthand about how they want to be communicated with in the future. So once someone subscribes to the Cheeky Wipes marketing list, having opted into that sustainable messaging, I mean, it doesn't say sustainable messaging to the customer, but for the brand, they know now sustainable messaging is going to resonate with this specific list. So this kind of data, which it's called zero-party data. At Klaviyo, we like to lump zero-party and first-party data as just everything you get directly from your customers, and we call it customer-first data. But this customer-first data can be used in all kinds of marketing messages to ultimately lead to a better long-term relationship, which is what we're talking about. And definitely there's sustainable implications here, but this applies to everything for the Cheeky Wipes brand. Their product recommendations, I happen to know they use it in their browse abandonment email. They tailor that specific email based on how many products someone has viewed on their website. And the subscriber gets an email that has either a review based on viewing multiple products and making multiple purchases, or just simply about product quality if they've only viewed one product or so. That email, I was just talking to Helen about it, and it converts 5 times more than the industry average for a browse abandonment. So this kind of data, definitely for sustainable messaging, but also for all businesses, using that kind of information in your marketing messages, it shows your customers that you care about what they care about, and then it leads them to convert more often, and then it leads to them having sustainable products if your brand can offer that. So it's just helps everybody involved.
E-commerce Master Plan is supported by some of the greatest companies in the e-commerce sector. Here's a reminder of who they are.
Has your business taken huge growth leaps in the last year? Then you need to enter to be in the running for Brightpearl's Lightning 50. It's the definitive list of the fastest growing online businesses in the UK and US. Apply today and get recognised for your brand's epic success over the past year. Last year's winners included brands like Holland Cooper, Biscuiteers and Candy Kittens. Do you have what it takes to stand out in 2022? Head to brightpearl.com/lightning-50 to put your business forward. The Lightning 50 is free to enter and it takes less than 5 minutes to apply. So what are you waiting for? Head to brightpearl.com/lightning-50 to put your... Let me tell you about Awesome, the experts in organising your e-commerce business accounts so you don't have to worry about filing company reports or paying your taxes on time. Awesome accountants take care of all your finance admin through the app and are always on hand to answer your questions and give tailored advice based on your company accounts. It's really easy to link your online store, bank accounts and payment systems, and then Awesome take care of the rest. They keep track of your spending, your profits, and make sense of your financial performance in real time, giving you peace of mind and time to focus on doing more, like reaching new customers and building your brand. Get a dedicated accountant at a lower cost with Awesome. Plus, you can take advantage of our e-commerce master plan discount. Go to stay.awesome.com/masterplan with a capital M to sign up and save £110. That's stay.awesome.com/masterplan with a capital M to sign up and save £110. Business forward.
It's time for the top tips round.
Okay, Aubrey, I love this section because it gives me and our listeners some really quick ideas for taking our businesses to the next level. You just gave us some amazing tips about customer first data and how to use that. So I have high hopes for these. I'm not lying. Aubrey, are you ready for the top tips?
I am so ready.
Okay, the book top tip. If everyone listening to this podcast agreed to take Friday off and read a book to make their business better, which book would you recommend?
It's a book called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. I love that book so much. It's all about creating safety and a better environment for humans to do better work. I think it's something that every leader should read and also every person should read because it helps you know what you need and how to ask about that from leaders.
Simon Sinek's such an amazing author. I often think that It's a Shame Start With Why was such a popular book because it's kind of overshadowed Leaders Eat Last, which is an equally good book and could have made him just as famous as he was from Start With Why. But it's probably kind of just cool we get both books. Anyway, I'm rambling, everyone. We should carry on with the top tips. The traffic top tip, which marketing method do you either prize above all others or think doesn't get the press it deserves?
I think for traffic generation, building up channels that don't rely on third parties. I think paid ads are the fastest way to get traffic, but I think it's increasingly risky. And every time Apple and Google come to blows over who wants to control your ad budget, it's scary. I talk to performance marketers and they're like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. All of a sudden my costs are up and I got this very confusing email and I don't even know if it's why. So I think organic search, organic social, obviously you're going to need to diversify and have some of your pot in paid ads, but as much as you can diversify or direct that paid ad traffic to then subscribe to your marketing list and then nurture for free forever, I think that is the best thing to do for long-term growth.
Yeah. It's a different world now, guys, a different world. The tool top tip, maybe a collaboration tool, a social media plugin, a phone app, or just a way of working. Is there a cool little tool you use that makes you and your team more efficient from day to day?
One of my favorite tools that I've also turned my husband onto is Clockwise. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it auto updates meetings to provide the most focus time for people. Before I started using Clockwise, I could be an ad for Clockwise, honestly. I would block my meetings out with enough emotional time to recuperate, and then I would have no time to work. So now I put all my meetings together, and I actually get some work done. It's lovely. Now I can do research reports on sustainability.
Yes, it's putting a content marketer in meetings all week long. It's just a terrible, terrible idea because you never produce or seed any content.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually that you're the second person on the podcast to recommend it, but their episode isn't out yet. So guys, get ready for another Clockwork recommendation coming up in a few episodes' time. Okay, the growth top tip. If you met someone today who's focused on growing their e-commerce business from 100 orders per month to 1,000, what would be your number one tip for them?
It's got to go back to customer first data. Get more information from your audience and then use that information to convert them. It really is impressive how much, not just personalizing with a first name, but personalizing with intelligent information about your product can help convert. I was just on a website that the brand sells men's underwear, and their sign-up form literally asked when someone wanted to make a purchase. So obviously you see how that translates to the marketing. When someone wants to make a purchase, you know when to email them again. I think your audience is a lot more open to sharing information. And I think there's a general fear sometimes to add add fields to your form. We did other research about how many fields you can add to a sign-up form. And it takes about 5 before people are less likely to convert. So you can have pretty good information on your sign-up form, which is, especially if you're only at 100 orders, you're probably afraid to maybe risk that conversion. So spoiler, it does not risk conversion. You heard it here.
Excellent. I love that one. Thank you, Aubrey. Before we say goodbye, could you please let the listeners know where they can find you, Klaviyo, and the report we've been talking about?
Oh, yes. So you can read that whole article about how UK consumers feel about sustainability. That is at klaviyo.com/blog/sustainable-e-commerce. And then you can easily navigate to our website, klaviyo.com as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Aubrey. It's been an utter pleasure talking with you about this report, and I hope we've inspired lots of listeners to take advantage of this big new opportunity. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me. It's a great mission to try to help brands be more sustainable, and us consumers too, because obviously consumers need all the help they can get.
Consumers need all the help they can get. If you don't take anything else from this podcast, quite frankly, there was so much you should be taking from this episode. But that's the key thing. You know, in those stats, the consumers are saying 49% of them want to see the sustainable option at the same price point as the non-sustainable option. That will help them buy more sustainably. 47% believe proof the purchase is sustainable is what would help them make the choice. They want that reassurance. They want to be educated. They want it to be clear. They want to understand. And if you can do that, you are going to help turn them into a customer for life. Plus, this is a great way to build more connection with them. And how awesome was that tip Aubrey gave us towards the end there about bringing your customer first data, kind of like that amalgamation of first party and zero party together to help you work out which customers are most interested in the sustainability angle, you know, where you push that one, and the others where you just have it as kind of like the PS and the subplot. Okay. Loads in today's session. So if you head to the website, you can get your hands on the notes from today's show, including the top tips and links to what we've mentioned, including a link to the report, all those great stats that Aubrey was sharing with us. And that is via ecommercemasterplan.com/podcast, or you can use our new special direct to episode links. I am far too proud of these, quite frankly. But anyway, I hope they're useful to you. We have created ECMP, standing for E-commerce Master Plan. So ecmp.info/episode number. If you put that into the URL bar, you will be redirected straight to the correct page for the episode. So for this episode, it would be ecmp.info/387. And my marvelous team have been setting that up for every single episode we've ever put out since 2015. So if you're listening to an episode and you're like, oh, I'd love the notes, I can't be bothered to work out where to go, just go to ecmp.info/episode number and you'll go straight to the right page. How cool is that? Now, once you get to the website, you can also add yourself to our email list, which is where I share the latest things I found. So I shared this report a couple of months ago. So if you want the soonest access, if that's a thing, to the things I share, the things I get excited about, you need to be on our email list. And I'm opening up our newsletter every Tuesday. Now, if you like this episode, make sure you check out episode 379, where I shared 10 simple ways to get your business on the path to sustainability. Thank you so much for tuning into this and every episode of the E-commerce Master Plan podcast. I bring you a new interview every week because I want to inspire and help e-commerce business owners to succeed and thrive with their businesses, including progressing along the path to net zero. So if you know someone this show can help, please tell them to listen to the E-commerce Master Plan podcast. I hope you have a great week and don't forget to keep optimizing.
Thank you for listening to the E-commerce Master Plan podcast. Find out more at ecommercemasterplan.com/podcast.
If you're marketing an e-commerce brand, you already know that data changes everything. More data means more power. And if your email or SMS tools can't handle all that data, they're probably holding you back. That's where Klaviyo comes in. Its top-notch personalization and segmentation help you send the right message at the right time, guided by unlimited real-time data from your online store and tech stack. Request a demo at klaviyo.com/masterplan. That's KLAVIYO.com/masterplan.